Hello, friends. Who do we got here today? Let's freaking go. Let's talk DWM. And I'm ready. I am super ready. I've been... well, let me... hold on a second. Let me look. Oh, yes. All right. I see you. Does everybody hear me? Are we good? Are we good? Because I'm not good with streaming, so I need a little help every once in a while. Cool. Thank you, guys. All right. So I'm starting from scratch, like literally scratch. I've got nothing installed. And I want to, I'm going to install a DWM script that I have been working on for a while. And at least the better part of 2 weeks, but really ramped it up this week. So what I'm going to do initially is I'm going to clone into my GitHub. So github.com/drewgriff/DWM setup. Okay. And this should be all that's required. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go into the DWM setup directory. All right. And I have in the suck list direct. Let's go into suck list real quick, just so I can talk a little bit about this. So what Matt was doing is he was looking at individual patches, and I've already done the patches that I want right now, and I've been really modifying it. So I'm going to go into DWM just so I can show you which patches I selected. Okay. ls. So cd into patches. Okay. So you're going to look at all the patches, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but I have this 16 patches that have been that I've installed and have modified slightly. There's one thing in particular I wanted to talk about, and I think Matt would have really be appreciative of one in particular, and it's this focused on top -6.5. Now the reason why that's important is because because this is not part of the DWM patches on their website. This is actually part of Backaby, who is the genius creator behind DWM FlexiPatch. Okay. All right. So that is an important patch that I had to go get and then put into this particular build. So let's just do this, and let's go into the DWM setup. Okay, now I'm going to talk while we do this, but let me actually, I'm just going to use Nano because that's the only thing that's installed right now. All right, and I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, guys. All right, so what this is going to do, all right, is to install all the packages. So I'm starting from scratch. There's no GNOME. There's nothing on this machine. Literally nothing on this machine, okay, except Debian minimal. Just nothing. I think I have OpenSSH installed, and that is all. Okay? You guys can't see this, can you? I had to, there we go. Okay. I fixed it. Yeah, I fixed it. All right. So hopefully we can do this without too much of that kind of shit. All right. So it's going to go through these sections. It's going to install all the packages that I need, as well as some required packages. It's going to enable services. It's going to set up my user directories. It's going to see if DWM is already installed. And if it is, it's going to move it to a different directory. Then it's going to set up my particular version of DWM. It's going to install this very specialized version of PyCom, which is super cool. It's going to go out and get fast fetch. Okay, it's going to clone fast fetch and install it because it's not part of the Debian. It's not part of Debian packages right now. Sometimes I do use the no install recommends. Yes. I'm going to install WesTerm. Okay. This is my new love, guys. And when it comes to terminal, the configuration file is in Lua, and I really modified it specifically for this. I really like WesTerm. And the reason why I switched off of Ghosty was because it just was a little bit too buggy at this stage. If I do go back to it, I would not be surprised. Okay, it's going to install some nerd fonts. It's going to install themings. It's going to change it. And then it's going to ask you if you want my bash RC so that when you do log in, you'll see, you'll be able to use that particular bash RC. Okay, so that's what this is going to do. Let me go ahead and go out. It's clear. And we're just going to start set it. It's going to say, do you want to install? Yes, I do. Okay, and it wants me to authenticate, and boom, we're going to go. And so it's going to install Xorg. It's going to install a bunch of things. Maybe I should have talked about that a little bit. Okay, it's going to install Genie. It's going to install a bunch of other things, including all the things that I said it was going to install in that subroutine section. Okay, so this should not take that long anymore. There was a thing because I had been working on this particular script for a while, and the one thing that I could not get over was how to install Ghosty without like it pausing so long that it was just ridiculous. Okay. And I have, like I said, I have a my Ghosty at my GitHub to install, and it works on Debian. Not everybody can say that because the Debian, it does not work with Debian stable. It might work differently with testing because I haven't even tried that. But with Debian stable, there was a specific a commit that broke it. And so it just showed like a blank screen where the terminal would be. And so I found the right commit for it to install. And then, but from within this directory, within this script, it did not work right. But it pushed me to move and look at something else. So I could have used just Tilix and something like that. But when I found WesTerm, and I could just like move, I mean, this kitty would have been roughly the same thing. But when I used WesTerm and then started doing my configuration file in Lua, it just seemed really stinking good. So I don't know if any of you guys have tried WesTerm before. I really think it's really good when you configure it the way maybe I have. However, it is the configuration being in Lua, definitely not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not for everybody. Definitely not part of the Debian packages either. So it's actually going out to GitHub to retrieve the Debian file and install it. And it will also move the .westerm.lua over. And then so when we first start the terminal, when we log in, it should be like firing on all cylinders. Okay. So all of these packages are required, not all, but this is going to give you a nice experience right out of the gate. And I really want to talk about the patches more once we actually log in. because I wrote a lot of documentation, guys, a lot of documentation. And in fact, for those of you, I will try to put it in the chat. Hold on. So the link that you see in the chat, you'll see a lot of the documentation that I have right on that README page, and this is the script that I am currently running. So for those of you that are interested, open that up. Don't go away from this stream. Holy crap! Did I just give you a reason to leave? Now, there's War Thunder, nothing wrong with Tilix. Definitely not. The only thing, so Dave, thanks a lot, Dave. See you later, pal. Oh, thank you. That should have been my suggestion, right? Open that in a new tab. So, yeah, Tilix, still good. The only thing that I am having a little bit of difficulty with is it's not going to be maintained so it's been like 2 years dormant. And so there's nothing wrong with that. After all, I am a Debian user. So 2-year-old software, not a big deal to me. Anyway, it is going to be replaced. Already it's going to be replaced. Well, I don't know if it's going to be available in Debian 13, but definitely the deb file for Tixis, which is the newest GNOME terminal, is going to be part of Debian Trixie. So Tixis, PTYXIS, by the way. All right, so here's the CMake packages that are required. And then once, boom, right there, you're now watching DWM actually being installed. Hopefully you're catching it at the same time. I guess what I'm saying, it's actually, it's going to be synced up, I guess is what I was trying to say. So right there was the special version of PyCom that went out and got, now it's actually in FastFetch. So it already installed the PyCom version that I like. And now it's installing FastFetch, which is definitely not part of Debian's packages. Probably will for Debian Trixie, but I can do this, so why not? Why not, friends? Why not indeed? So, finishing up on the FastFetch install, and then it's going to, it's going to get the Wes term. Boom, done. And it went and got my Lua file for Wes term, and now it's installing nerd fonts. Okay. So I like this GTK theme. So it's installing a bunch of GTK themes, including the colloid icon theme, which you see you're seeing it, and it will also activate those before you even have to log in. Okay. So I don't know how long this stream is going to be. I don't think it's going to be incredibly long. Okay, so we've gotten to, do I want to replace my bash RC? Now this is going to go and get it out of my dot files. So yep, and it went and got it out of my dot files. And now all I need to do is reboot. Okay, so it installed everything. Now as far as login manager or display manager, I just did light DM because that's all I wanted to do, use, and I don't mind just it being plain Jane looking, you know. So right, you know, we've gone from a Debian minimal install to something that I can log into now. Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to go and just make sure I'm selecting DWM because I did put that in the user share or X sessions, I should say. And when I log in, I'm going to be greeted by DWM. And this is what mine looks like. You know, GDM might be best looking. I don't really care. I don't really have to have a really cool looking login. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let me go ahead though, and I'm going to open up Firefox so that I can actually go to my DWM setup at GitHub. Okay. Yeah, I don't need that. Okay, but what I want to make sure I'm going to do is I want to talk about each individual patch, okay? And if you are looking at your screen, or if you've looked at this, documentation prior, this is not going to be news to you. I spent a lot of time on documentation. No, this is not. This is on Metal. This is on Metal. No, I don't do VM. So, always center, okay? It floats. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. And let me go ahead and let's... I'm going to go ahead and turn off the sidebar. Always Metal. Yeah, I don't do anything on VM. Yeah. So let's change the font. And we're going to say this. We're going to bump it up. Okay, and then I actually don't need the message window either. Okay. So I want to go over and Control H. That way we can look at suckless, DWM, and this. Okay, cool. Now, is it okay? I can always put in a dark theme in case you guys want it, but I always ask the question. Is it easier to see a white background with dark text when you're looking at it on YouTube? Because I don't know the answer, but regardless, let me go back over here, okay? And what I'm going to do is talk about each one of these patches. So always center. So what I want to make sure I'm showing you is the section where it's going to float. Actually, this is wrong, but I'll make sure. There are certain applications I want to float, okay? And you'll see them, like, for example, I always want Calculator to float. I always want MPV, QIMGV to, you want me to change it to dark? Yeah, I could do that real quick. All right. Let me just go and get, actually, let me go ahead and get clone https colon and then github.com/griff/genie themes, I think. Yep. All right, so I've got Genie themes because I've actually contributed to the Genie project with a couple things. Let me go over here and let's Genie themes and my color schemes. Copy this, and we're going to drop this into Genie and paste that. So now when I go back over here, by the way, let me go ahead and talk about this real quick. This is, I'm kind of scattered. I want to get as much in about an hour as possible. So this is WesTerm. This was what I selected for my terminal of choice. And we'll talk a little bit more about the configuration file if you guys are interested. But this is more geared towards DWM, and I want to talk about all the choices made for the patches used. Okay, so let me go ahead and close this. And I'm going to change the color scheme. Now, personally, I've been using, what is it called? It's called Under the Sea. How's that? How do you guys like the Under the Sea? Because this is the one I contributed to the Genie Themes project. Use your scratch pad. Okay, so I have two scratch pads. I'll just do it real quick, but I have two scratch pads. One is for Pulse Mixer. The other one is for Ranger, okay? And basically the toggle for these is Super V and Super R. So if I hit Super V, okay, there it is. So I can just kind of like move it back and forth. That is my one scratch pad. I don't do a lot with scratch pads, but that demonstrates you the scratch pad. Okay, so always center. So if I'm using, there's two ways to get to my applications. One is Super Space, and Super Space is showing Rofi. Okay, and I know I shouldn't be talking about. Let me talk about one more thing before I start this line of thought. Okay, I have a helper, and all you have to remember is Super H. H for help. Super H. Okay. So I created this little script for Rofi. And this Rofi will tell you all of the key bindings, because not only am I using DWM key bindings, but I'm using SXHKD key bindings, okay? And I wanted it to be easy for you to find what you might be looking for. For example, Super P, okay? Super key, P rather, is going to show up here. And this is simply dmenu. Okay, dmenu is installed. One of the things that's interesting about dmenu is it can be installed from the Debian stable. All you have to do is suckless install suckless-tools, and it will install dmenu for you. Okay, but if I just said Firefox, for example, it's going to give me, Firefox to select. All right. However, this is what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the helper so that you know what the key bindings are for every single thing. So it includes, by the way, the scratchpad volume and Ranger. Okay. Now let me go ahead and close this. And by the way, there's a bunch of layouts that we'll talk about when we get to that point. Okay. Now, the always center. So I am going to open up Rofi, and I'm going to open QIMGV, which was one that was talked about in the configuration file. All right. So that right there. Now I don't have an image on this machine because I just don't. All right. But it would show up in the center of the screen, always center, okay? Now, yep. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit escape. The next one, by the way, I think I can show you the other thing really quickly, but I wanted to make sure that... toggle floating center. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So, so attach bottom. By default, DWM would show the newest version, the newest window in the master okay, and move everything else to the stack, okay? I like it the opposite way, okay? So when I hit super enter, okay, it's going to open up the terminal, and it's going to put it in the bottom of the stack. Okay, I don't know if everyone understands that. If you're a DWM user, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? But what it did was it would have been completely like swapped if not for this particular patch, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and close that. And so let's talk about Cool Auto Start. Now, Cool Auto Start is really cool in the sense that it allows you to put, and let me go over here, okay? So I'm gonna show you the line where it's calling, okay? What it does is it puts the auto start in the configuration file, okay? So the auto start in the configuration file is something that I put in. Now you don't have to, all right? You can just say, you know what? I'm going to list up all of the things that I want to auto start in my configuration file. I just think this is a better method to use an autostart.sh file outside, but it is the one that I selected is actually in the suckless scripts directory. So if I go over and I just say suckless scripts, and there's my auto start, okay? This is everything that's getting started when I am logging into DWM, okay? So this one's not even relevant because I should go ahead and comment that out. But it is calling to Faye to put in my background image. It is using this code right here to start my SXHKD. And then it also has within, like I said, within the suckless directory, it's calling to this particular dunst.rc and PyCom with animations. So I haven't really demonstrated the animations all that much, although you did get an idea. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and save and close. Okay, you get the idea that when I like start opening a bunch of things, okay, I can move them around the screen, which is basically another patch that we should talk about. Okay, let me go ahead and close this, and let's go back over to here. All right. Fixed borders, I can't really demonstrate. Okay, but overall, I think I had this because there was something wrong with the border, and this definitely fixed it. This is hard to find at the, yeah, it is pretty good. This is hard to find. It is actually within the alpha, I think it's the alpha patch on the DWM website. So it is kind of hard to find. Anyway, all right, focus adjacent tag. All right. Now, what I do, I don't know. You'll see that right now I'm in tag 1. Okay, and I'm using a key binding. Okay, it's Control Shift, and then I just use the right arrow key or the left arrow key. And so what it does is it changes the focus by allowing me to just kind of like hold the Control Shift down and using my arrow keys to go to the adjacent tag. I mean, that's pretty simple, isn't it? Oh shit. Sorry guys, hold on. Okay. Okay, sorry. I don't know where I left off. We talked about why 12 workspaces, because that's what I freaking want, 12 workspaces. So anyway, I talked a little bit about the adjacent tags. Let me see if this works now. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's going now. Is it, are we good? Are we good? I think so. So basically, what I'm showing you is the focus adjacent tag. And I'm, like I said before, I'm hit Control, Shift, and then the right or left arrow key, depending on which adjacent tag that I want to go to. All right, sorry, that should have taken very little time. Okay, now, so this one is one that I think Matt is going to want. Okay. And again, I put a link to the patch because it is not on the DWM website. All right. Focus on top. And the reason why is because sometimes a unfocused small window will show up, but it will be behind another tiled window. All right. So let's just do that again. I'm just going to go to, what do I want to, okay, LX appearance. Okay. So by the way, LX appearance, the script actually pre-selected this Orcus Teal Dark as my GTK theme. And it pre-selected the Colloid Teal Everforest Dark for my icon theme. Okay. So anyway, the fact that I can move and change focus without this being swallowed up by the window behind it is actually what I was. That's what the intent of this particular patch is. Okay, so you can see I'm over here, and the active window is the browser. But as soon as I go over here, and you know, LX appearance is still visible, which is important. That's what I wanted to make sure, that I had it visible and that it didn't get, oh, I didn't know it was behind my browser. But this way, it totally is in a place where it's on top. All right. So it says, forces the currently focused window to always be on top, which is what I think is really good. All right. Now, I don't remember why I put this in. I think that the DWM behaves more, you know, as far as pop-ups, for example. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just say hi. Okay. And notice, yeah, it went behind, but okay. Yeah. Focus net active, some like pop-up. Yeah, I forget why I have this one. And because basically, I'll come back to this one. I can't remember. There is a reason why, but I don't think it's that important at this point. Anyway, move stack. I kind of demonstrated moving stack a few times. Okay. You know, if I want to, I can just say, you know, I'm using super shift and then I'm using the arrow keys. A lot of you guys who are Vim users will undoubtedly want to use like Vim keybinds instead, but I am not a really good Vim user, so I am just basically using arrow keys. Okay. Per tag. Now, let's go back to this one. All right, let's go back to this one because I want to talk about vanity gaps and then go back to that one. All right. So the vanity gaps, most people will use full gaps as their patch. I used vanity gaps because I want to have, it includes a lot of, layouts. Okay. Now, by default, I am choosing, so let me go back over here. It's adding all of these layouts. Okay, by default, I'm using the dwindle layout. I also have centered master. By the way, this column layout is one that I actually included. I wrote the script for this part this column layout. I'm not exactly happy with it. That's why I didn't put it like up more close to the top. But if you want to try it, have at it. It kind of allows you to make it look a little bit more like i3. Okay. So there you go. You know, so by the way, if let's just say I'm over here, okay, and I just have a bunch of terminals open, okay. Now, if I want, I can just use, let me go back over to key bindings here, okay. I can just say set layout, and the layout key binds are Shift Control 1 through 12, okay. So, or actually not 12, but 1 through 0, and then the minus and the equal, okay? But there's 12 layouts, all right? So I have been able to put in another Rofi script. So if I say Control Shift, let me go back over to this. If I say Control Shift L, all right? This Rofi script will allow you to change. It also will tell you what it'll tell you what the keybind is. But if you want, you can just say, yeah, I want BStack. Okay, and there's the layout for BStack. So Super Shift L says column. And it lays everything out in a column, okay? Now, let's go back, okay? Because I wanted to talk about per tag, okay? Per tag means that each tag remembers its layout. So notice up here, it's still showing the dwindle layout, but if I'm on tag 5, it shows the column layout. So that's the reason for that particular patch. Whether you want to use per tag, I mean, to use per tag allows you a lot more control over individual tags. Okay. So, you know, everything else right now is in the dwindle layout, but tag 5 is showing column. And one more time. Oh, one more time, Super Shift L. All of these layouts are available to you if you want. So centered master. There you go. All right. Let's go back over to 1. Again, we talked about this. Actually, Matt just finished this stream where he used preserve on restart. Okay. Oh, I don't know that he actually got done with that. He definitely did this one. Okay. And for me, restart sig, we're going to show you really quickly. Okay. Is this. It's this line in the configuration code. Okay. This line is Super Shift R. For me, it means restart. So I'm very consistent with all the window managers that I'm using. So Super Shift R is restart DWM. Even though it says quit and then 1, that's basically a restart. Okay. So I can do that real quick. It doesn't matter. Okay. It is going to automatically go back to workspace 1. Okay. When you restart, workspace tag 1 when you restart. But overall, the preserve on restart means that not everything gets moved to tag 1. So if you didn't have this patch and you had a bunch of stuff open on different tags, it would automatically all kind of go to tag 1. And that's not that useful at all. But a lot of times you don't actually need to restart DWM. You just end up, whatever. I did show scratch pads. And like I said, the only reason I don't use them very often, okay? But scratch pads, a lot of people do, all right? So that's why I have that Super V. And this is basically just showing, your volume, Super V for volume, and then Super R, okay? And it's showing Ranger, okay? And like I said, Super R makes it go away. but it stays there, you know. So that's what a scratch pad does. Here's a cool thing that I haven't talked about yet, okay? I put in, and let me go ahead and open up a new, so suckless, and it's in the SXHKD RC, all right? One of the things that I've done, and by the way, here's where it shows the help file, okay? Well, one of the things I've done also is put in scripts to change volume. So super, and then the insert or the delete, super, insert, or delete will change the volume. I'm just showing you where that is, but what was I going to show you now that I've like completely lost my train of thought? There's the Super Shift L, which is the DWM layout menu. Oh, yeah, it was something. Oh, that's what it is. Sorry. So Super Shift Return puts Tilix, which is already installed. That's one of the things that I installed in my script. Okay. Later on, Fred. Thanks for being here. Okay. Super Shift Return. Okay, is going to show Tilix in a Quake mode. So the first thing I would do is I tried to actually get it to like take on a different dimension. But if you go into Quake, all right, and you want the height to be slightly more, let's just say 50, okay? And you want the width to come in to, let's say, 70. Let's make it a little bit more, about 70 and 70. Okay? And there. So now, Quake mode allows me to just say, okay, I'll do something in the terminal, and when I hit Super Shift Return again, it goes away. All right? So now it's in Quake mode. So if I hit Super Shift Return, it didn't actually close. It just like removed it from the screen, but you're able to pick up where you left off when Tilix is in Quake mode. I don't know if anybody else has done or used this before, but overall, I think is a very good. That's why I used it and put it into my SXHKD file. It is definitely like a scratch pad. That's absolutely true. Okay. So by the way, I want to change this because I hate this font and sauce regular, and this is fine. Oh, I didn't do it. This is fine, and select, and maybe just a touch higher. Okay. Yep. And exactly right. Exactly like. Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of XFCE, so so that's what that does. All right. So 13, or the status 2D sys tray. All right. So I don't have anything, but if I, in my sys tray, but I definitely picked this one because it allows you to put in colored status text, which includes awesome fonts as well. If you want to use font awesome, you can do that. I just don't think it's necessary. That's my personal opinion, is I don't think it's really necessary to have like a lot of bling in my status bar. I just use this. And by the way, this is set up for me. And if you are interested in like changing this, all you have to do is go into SL status. Let me just show you that real quick. Do I have anything open? Yeah. So if I'm in the config, everything that you're seeing here is managed from this .config suckless directory. Okay. So all the Dunst, the DWM, the PyCom, the Rofi, the scripts that I'm using, SL status, which is what we were talking about, and the wallpapers. So by the way, so let's go here. And this is the configuration file for SL status. Literally, that is all. Everything else is commented. Okay. So, and that's all I need. truly, that's all I need. Barely, you know, I want a CPU readout, I want the date, and I want the time. But if I do have something, let's just say if I have flame shot, okay? You see flame shot will show up as in the sys tray. And the reason why I selected this particular status 2D is because it had a sys tray included. All right. Let's go back over here. All right. So toggle floating center. All right. Now this is, to me, this is kind of cool. All right. So how many people are in the chat? Looks like 30. All right. So let me go ahead and I'm going to open up a bunch of things again. Okay. And now, by the way, you can definitely like change the size of things. Okay. Control C. You can change the size if you want. You can move things around, but let's just say, oh man, I need this like out from the stack. So I hit super shift, and then the space bar. Okay. So it takes it out of the stack, and now I can either, you know, move it around by saying super and then use my left mouse, or I can resize it, okay, which is super and my right mouse click, okay? And if I want to, if I hit super shift space again, it moves it back into the stack. That is the reason why I'm using that. No, you can't use, I mean, other than, well, I am using, it's clickable like this, but this isn't really part of SL status. This is just, I think, yeah. I know DWM blocks, some people use it. I just don't think it's necessary. I just think, you know, I'm just using very bare minimum stuff, okay? So yeah, in fact, I saw Bread on Penguins. Bread on Penguins uses DWM blocks as well. So yeah, kudos to her, by the way. So Vanity Gaps has a bunch of layouts. And then this is, okay, last one, DWM window follow. Okay. Now, not everybody will like this. I kind of do. Okay. And so right here in the status bar, okay, I don't know if you guys can see where my mouse is, but okay, this allows you to change the top two layouts, and this is clickable as well. Okay, now what does this do? All right, I'm able to, like, if I hit super shift and then 7, okay, you couldn't tell, but basically the sorry, somebody else was talking to me. What was I talking about? Oh, basically what happened was it was on tag 1. I hit super shift 7. All right. And because I sent it to a different tag, it followed it over. Okay. But if I choose to, I can just turn it off. All right. And I think it's super shift N. Yeah. Super shift N just says turn it on or off. So that toggles whether you want to have it follow or not. So right now, for example, I'm going to turn it off, which is this V. Okay. So now when I hit super shift 1, there should be a blank, it should be a blank tag on 7, where when I hit super 1, it changes it back, and you'll see what was, you know, what I just moved from tag 7 to 1. Wow, that made absolutely no sense at all. I'm sorry for doing that. Okay. So what I've basically done is I've tried to take a lot of the work out for myself in the future, but I wanted to see if other people were interested in this. Okay. So I installed FastFetch during the scripting. So if I hit FF, it automatically, let me just go ahead and move that over to 3. Okay. There's FastFetch. In case you're interested, by the way, I put 3 different configuration files in FastFetch, in the FastFetch config. All right, so let me go ahead and let me open up this and config and FastFetch. And there's 3 things right here. I kind of, this one that I'm using for the servers that I'm logging into is kind of cool. So let me go ahead and rename this and just call it backup. And let's rename this and just say config. Okay. And so now when I go back over, oh, it's on 3, isn't it? Yep. All right. Now when I just say hit FF, this is the configuration for FastFetch that I'm using on the servers that I'm logging into. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense at all. Are we still there? Is everybody still there? Okay. Anyway, so this shows you what that particular config looks like, and I'm using that. Okay, let's go ahead and close that. And let's, I just called that server. Is this thing on? Okay. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Fort Thunder. All right, so let me just see. Let me look through. Oh, you know what? I wanted to show you a little bit of this. Okay, so you know, if you're interested, take a look at the documentation that I am using. So I'm thinking, did I set up anything? I mean, yeah, I said super H for the helper. Yep. And talked about all the patches, even in the documentation a little bit and why it was selected. Okay. And so the one thing that I haven't really talked about is why I'm choosing WesTerm, because I did talk about Tilix in Quake mode, which, to your credit, you know, you did pick out kind of like a scratch pad. Okay. But why did I choose WesTerm? And one of the things was the configuration file. Okay, it's in Lua. So let me go ahead and open the .WesTerm Lua. Okay. Let me get this out of the way. So edit preferences. Let me get this toolbar. Actually, pinned images while I'm here. Let me go ahead and hit that. Interface editor, that's what I'm looking for, display, and let me turn that line marker off. Okay, cool. There we go. Okay, so this is the Lua file that I created for WesTerm. Okay, and let me go ahead and open up a terminal so that you can see it simultaneously. All right, I'm sorry if let me go ahead and line wrap. So what it's doing is I do have a little bit of a opacity, so it's only 10%. 10% transparent. I'm using Night Fox as the color scheme. Now, hey, from Spain. Hey, buddy. Now, the one thing that is similar to Ghosty is that the color schemes for the iTerm 2 for I2 term color schemes is available to you. So I can use something like Night Fox, and I can use a number of different ones. Now, I am 16 font size. I'm using Source Code Pro Nerd Font Mono, but I'm also using the Firacode Nerd Font Mono in the frame, which is called Fancy Bar True. Okay. And I wanted it to be an underline rather than a block. So I said blinking underline at a 500 rate. Sometimes you will find that there will be configurations. If you're ever interested and you go look for somebody else's configuration for WesTerm, okay? Sometimes people will say config.term equals WesTerm, okay? I would highly, highly fight against that and put in xterm 256 color like you're looking at right now. If you don't, then you might have some problems with SSH and with if you hit Control L to clear the screen, it might fail. If you use nano, it might fail. Okay. So just for your own sanity, you're like, why didn't that work? Use the xterm 256 color and you'll be like solid. Okay. So I am like, as far as colors are concerned, this is how I am like defining this blue. And so that I wanted it to look very similar to my DWM. So that's why I included getting or like installing WesTerm and using my WesTerm Lua. It automatically puts it in the right spot for you. Okay. Okay. And let me go down here. Let me try to make this a little bit easier for you to read. Okay. So I have some keybinds. Alt, I'm using Alt basically as the modifier. Okay. And what I'm going to show you is like if I hit Alt T, for example, Alt T, it adds another pane. They call it a pane. Okay. So it's basically a tab. All right. And I can add as many as I want. All right. If I hit Alt W, it closes the tab that I'm working in. Okay. It also will, like if I set up a couple things also with mouse key binding. Okay. So for example, if I just hit the middle mouse button, boom, it actually splits the pane. Let me go ahead and it splits the pane vertically. So now if I just say Alt Q, if I'm over here, Alt Q, and you can do it a number of different ways. So if I just say Alt V, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little confused. Not confused, but just like sporadic with my thoughts. Okay. There's a lot to kind of go over, and I know that I've been streaming for about an hour now. And, but I wanted to make sure everything was kind of like went over, and I didn't want to like bore everyone for like several hours. So anyway, so you'll see, and I know it's hard to, but I just say if I hit Alt and then I start using my arrow keys, it actually goes to the individual pane. Okay. So you can use it, really, really as much as you would like in terms of, let's put it this way. It's much better for people that use key bindings. Okay. Listen, I have, Jordy, I have a BSPWM install very similar to this, as well as this DWM. I'm hopefully going to start like creating, and listen, I don't know that I will. I'm just talking out of my freaking head right now, but I was thinking that I might end up like doing something with a Deb bootstrap and have people be able to like install this version, for example, of DWM from an ISO. So I don't want to say my own like distro, because that just seems kind of like pretentious, but overall kind of like a way to install from scratch and have this stuff kind of work. All right. Anyway, let me go ahead and close this. Okay. I guess I will only talk about one more thing. Okay. Let me go ahead and close this. I don't know if I even included it in my, let me just go see, actually. If I did, it's in the .config suckless scripts. Yep. And Zen install. Yeah, I need to clean this up a little bit. Okay, there are, and actually right there, look at that. Okay, apps. Let me go ahead and close this, and I'm going to open up a browser, a terminal, and just say go to .config, suckless, and then scripts directory. Okay, and now ls. You'll see that I have a bunch of things, and one of these two is going, probably this one that says Zen browser, because it's not. So I have put these scripts in there for you in case you want them, okay? But there are a few that definitely have to stay. DWM layout menu, so Super Shift L, which I've showed you a few times, shows you all the layouts, okay? But here's a way to, and there's the helper script, by the way, okay? Power script, by the way, is Super X, so that you can just log out or shut down or reboot. Okay, so Super X is a keybind for turning off the machine. There's the neovim.sh, and that might come out. What it does is what it does is it goes and gets because the Debian version of NeoVim on stable is at 0.7 something, really stinking old. This script will allow you to build your own version of NeoVim in a Debian package and then install that Debian package. So that's what this is doing. Control Q. All right. If you want to install Zen, I put in a way to install Zen browser. Also, the latest Firefox. Now, a lot of you guys will use Flatpaks. I don't. It's my personal preference. I just don't do that. But I also, the change volume is important. If you are a Discord user, it allows you to just install. Let me just show you real quick, okay? So Discord. What it does when it installs Discord is it installs it from the binary. So instead of it installing, because the Debian package sucks, if you're asking me. All right, it sucks. So what I did, I just said, all right, here we go. It's going to go get the latest version of discord.tar.gz, and then it's going to install it. Boom, and that's it. It's installed. All right, so if I hit super and then want to Discord, there it is, and I can now get to Discord really easily. Okay. ls again. So I did. This is a mental exercise right here. This apps.sh. Okay. I apologize in advance if the blue screen is a problem. I set this up because I thought it was interesting to try and do something like this by using a dialog box. So if I hit just space bar, you know, tree, I think curl's already installed anyway. So let me go ahead and hit that. Now it's going to go to the next screen. I think a lot of this stuff is already installed. I want MPV. I want VLC. Yep. I don't need another terminal, for God's sakes. I don't need another file manager, for goodness sakes. I don't need another browser. I want FZF and ripgrep. And micro is already installed, but if it didn't, it would just do this for you real quick. All right, and let me go to the next one. I think I want whois installed. Oops, I think I messed up, but regardless. And now this is what I'm looking at. I'm trying to figure out, hey, can I install this version of NeoVim? I'm just going to see if it works. Okay, proceed. Oh, well, at least part of it worked, right? Part of it worked, guys, at least. installation complete. So I'm wondering what actually got installed. So did VLC? Yes. Did MPV? Yep. What else did I install? HTOP, BTOP Plus. Yeah. I think so. What was the one that oh, NeoVim. Yeah. You know what? Let's, if NeoVim got installed, it would be there, right? NeoVim. I don't think it did. All right, well, let's do that. I'm just going to do this and then I'll be done, basically. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I thought, no, it didn't go. Or is it? No, didn't. Okay, let's do this. I'm just going to go and get it real quick, guys. So cd into, actually, I can just go g dot, and it goes in the dot config. I'm going to say git clone http. I'm unloading everything today, buddy. Unloading everything. And then nvim. Okay. So if I go into nvim, all right, let's clear ls. There is this right here, okay? This nvim, this is going to be the latest version because I try to stay up to date as much as possible. And so if you are interested and you need like a newer version of nvim for Debian or for a Debian-like distro, Ubuntu included. Linux Mint from my friend War Thunder in the chat. All right. So I'm just going to say install dots and then nvim. And there you go. By the way, this is Nala because it's got installed as well. All right. And now when I go to V, because actually V is, or I'm just going to go nvim that way. People are going to look at it. It's actually going to use my configuration. There is going to be an error there that is hard. I don't know why, but it just fails this one little thing every single time. Let me go ahead and update. And let's go ahead and clean. Okay. Yep. Okay. There we go. Go ahead and clear the screen. Okay. So that's what my nvim looks like basically. The only thing that failed, basically was my Markdown plugin. Okay. And it's actually pretty easy to fix. All right. So like if I was to if I go into this README, okay, you're going to see that little error right there, okay? So let's go ahead and hit that. It's going to, let me go over to my GitHub nvim. That way I know, I know what the right thing to do is. And right here, this little command call will fix that problem. That's why there you go. Now it's fixed. So if I hit, like, because my thing is space MD, all right? Space MD shows a Markdown previewer in your browser. So let me go ahead and move that over to Workspace 5. Right here. There we go. So now if I even if I type something in, hello, oh, insert, there we go, hello. You'll see right here, it's actually a live, indicator so that you can look on your browser and your Markdown and your markdown file, and you can see whatever changes are made. So that was the whole reason for that. Okay, and go ahead and close this. Yeah. There we go. All right. Well, friends, that is all. I've been streaming for what? An hour and 15 minutes, maybe? Not sure. Thereabouts. Close enough. All right. Regardless, thank you for watching. By the way, this whole thing was about this DWM setup. The installer I finished the installer today, and what you're looking at is the code that basically installed. Let me go all the way to the bottom. Installed a bunch of stuff, including all of these packages. So I started with the fresh install of Debian, absolutely nothing on it except the very bare minimum, and then went out and did all the installation packages required to set up DWM. By the way, for those, I can't remember exactly who was talking about BSPWM. Sorry if I can't remember. BSPWM setup. Okay. It's roughly the same thing. Okay, guys, it's roughly the same thing. I need to do a little bit better in documentation. This was the first one I did, and it's basically the same thing. So like if I was to, yeah, maybe I'll go another minute or two. So if I was to go and say, git clone https://github.com/drewgriff/bspwm-setup. Let's go ahead and see. I'm just going to empty both barrels, guys. All right, so cd into bspwm setup. And now let's go ahead and install. Yes. But I don't think I hit the right password. I didn't. Okay. Basically, it's not even gonna do anything hardly. It might actually have one thing that I didn't want to include, but regardless, I'm going to definitely make some changes to this script. It's a lot. The other one's a lot cleaner than this one. So I'm going to basically mirror a lot of the DWM stuff into this. So what I'm going to do is once this completes, by the way, File Roller in Debian installs a whole slew of packages that I don't need. So that was one of the reasons why. And then I also, it also installed Arctica Greeter on top of LightDM. Not a fan, guys. Not a fan because it took too long to do it, which you're seeing right now. But at the same time, it is a prettier experience. I just don't need a pretty experience to log into the machine. Not even that interesting. All right. So when it gets through this, it actually should take very little time. So to finish the installation, because BSPWM is on the Debian package, Debian repos, as well as Polybar and a bunch of other stuff. So this should be really quick. Yeah, right now, see, I took this part out of my DWM install. This is installing like the Microsoft fonts, just in case I needed them for work. Not a fan. Not a fan. Don't need it. Don't need it, guys. Thanks, Gnome. Appreciate you, buddy. No, I don't want to overwrite. Okay, so there it is. It's done. Now, when I go and I hit Super Shift Q, I'm curious what's going to happen. I hope it doesn't kill my stream. Doesn't look like it so far. Okay, so I'm over here. Actually, You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to try and restart because it might show what I was talking about. All right. So if I end up restarting, let me go ahead and restart just to see. Sorry if I if I extend the stream just a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm honest, guys. I am not a fan of installing stuff that I don't need. That's why I use a tiling window manager. So. Yeah, there you go. So this is the Arctica greeter. Okay. What do you guys think? I'm going to be curious to see what you guys think in the chat. Okay. So I don't need this, and I don't like having to select every single time. So I am going to select BSPWM because, you know, we just talked about it. This kind of goes against what I was doing for this stream, but I'm going to log in to BSPWM. And it's going to look similar because I'm using the same wallpaper, all right? And it's going to have, you know, 12 because I like 12. It's using Polybar. Yeah, I definitely need to fix a couple things on this because, yeah, I need to fix a couple things on this because I have changed some of my keybinds, okay? So anyway, Super H, for example, shows the key bindings for this. But my point was, by installing that, from that GitHub repo, you could have a really good experience for BSPWM. My personal favorite right now is the DWM build that I just did. Really, really, really enjoying that personally. I not the actual scripting, that's okay, but I actually like using DWM as a tiling window manager to get my work done. It's a very, very good system and still being maintained. Unlike BSPWM, even though I really love BSPWM, love it, I'm trying to modify all of the window managers that I love, guys. I absolutely love these. And I have Qtile. I'm a big fan of a few others, including OpenBox, which is not a tiling window manager, but at the same time, BSPWM and DWM are my favorite too by quite a bit. Xfos to Pro. I don't even know what that means, dude. No idea. Okay. So 6:34 Eastern time. Don't forget to change your clocks this evening, guys, or at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or whatever it is. All right. Thank you so much for your viewership. There we go. That's the right word. For your viewership, and I appreciate you, and see you next time.